So, but the sites these days, we've both mentioned like working on 100 megawatt farms. Texas has 2, 3, 400 megawatt farms, and they're talking about gigawatt farms at this point. In the United States, even I know around the world we've heard about gigawatt solar farms, but it's coming closer to home, and it's great to see because in the industry, there's so many people that have been doing this for so long, but it's an emerging industry still. We just have so much further to go. And one of the reasons I really tried to get this job at Clean Capital on the investment side, because money is how things move. If you have and people investing in it and showing it's proven, the technology's proven, now the investment's proven, and it's just going to continue to have money pulled in. And it's not just $1 billion industry. We're talking trillions of dollars in terms of potential. So
absolutely.
Yeah. It's just fun to be in something it's got its track record, but then there's just the whole world in front of us for it. I mean, there's so much potential and it's needed. Just because we're doing well doesn't mean we're where we need to be at. Everybody's got their 2030 goals and the 2050 goals, but it's these kind of pushes and data sets and people like you two and everybody who's listening, just kind of joining in and helping push the industry together. So
yeah, I love it. That's what I love about being in this industry, man.
And it's proof that everything's bigger in Texas, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Hey, I will do roughly 700 megawatts this year. I think I'm going to get close to a gigawatt, and that is mid-Atlantic. So you're right, man. The numbers are going up, and I couldn't be happier about it. I mean, we got to keep this thing moving. And man, I didn't realize, I knew that you had covered quite a bit of, the solar industry. You have pretty much worked every different stage that there is regarding a power plant, from the early stage development all the way to operating and managing that asset. That is remarkable. Is there anything that you would have done different looking back on it?
Yeah, definitely. I don't recommend the path I took to most people, because this was 100% my path, and personal reasons, career reasons, whatever it might be, led me to where I'm at. I would say a large part of it's luck, and then the other half of it is just being super determined to always pivot into something better, something different, to always learn something new. I never wanted to get stuck in an industry where I was just repeating the same tasks every single day. And it's one of the reasons I got into solar. But I think what I would do different is I've slowed down just a little bit, and probably stuck out with Strata a little longer to develop a few more skills. But it was, that's hindsight talking. Typically, most of my moves and transitions were because I either needed to be somewhere else, geographically, something was happening in the family, or I really needed a change of pace in terms of what I was doing career-wise. And it's there's always something I could have done better, but I'm where I'm at now because of the choices I made, and I'm happy with that. So it's maybe I could have learned a few more things or retained a few more things, mastered a few more things in college. But, actually speaking of college, I think that's one situation is I went straight from undergrad to grad school, and, coming from a very privileged point here, but it's I probably would have taken an extra 2 or 3 years between those to really dive into what I needed. I wish I would have gone from undergrad into the solar industry and then studied solar more specifically for what I really want, what my career get like what I'm doing with my career and spending that time with just so many amazing professors. I mean, you really take for granted when you're in the middle of school of like how much knowledge is right there and how many resources you have as a student. Um, but again, like I got a really good deal with my graduate degree. I was doing really well in undergrad, and I I figured out a way to get my master's with just an additional year and a half instead of doing 2 years. I started grad school like senior year of college and worked hard. So there's always something. Everybody's gonna have their own path. So it's like kind of depends on what their situation is and what they want. But
I don't think there's many O&M technicians that have their master's degree. I just want to throw that out there. I know there's some, no doubt.
Yeah,
but
I'm glad I have it for sure because I mean I learned more management skills and like global ways of thinking about things from my degree in appropriate technology, but I mean, it was hard. I'm not gonna lie. I was doubling up on all my classes and like internships, but it paid out because part of getting a college degree in general and a master's degree is it opens up different doors and opportunities because people see, all right, you're able to really just sit down and get some work done. You can study a specific task for 2 years, 5 years, if you're going into your doctorate or whatever it might be. But it would have been more beneficial to have narrowed that focus instead of just like, I'm going to learn everything, because you get into the real world and you're like, man, you can't learn everything. There's always going to be something different, somebody else that knows a little bit more. So
and that is what I appreciate about the path you've taken, though, is like you've learned a lot inevitably just based on your exposure alone.
There's nothing that beats like hands-on experience and like working with people who have 10 times the amount of experience. Like that's like one of the best things about the industry is most people who come in typically get paired up with somebody who's got 10 years of experience. I mean, that's what I found. Sometimes it's a couple guys in a truck and they're all new, but their manager's probably got a decade behind his belt,
right?
Whatever.
Yeah, I think one important thing that you mentioned, that your education, and you said like-minded people, is a lot of companies will hire students straight out of a program like you went through, but I think it's really having that mind, sustainable technology and willingness to learn those things. It's very important in the industry, and we've worked with a lot of graduates from Appalachian State, and I can't say I've had a bad experience with any of them. So yeah,
it's a great program, and every solar company I've worked with has other app grads, and it's always fun to see who's out in the industry and who knows what teachers. But I mean, again, just like the small world of solar, like some of these people, I mean, well, actually, part of the reason I got the job where I work now is a friend from college reached out and told me about it and found me on LinkedIn. You never know what connections are going to reach out at what point. So, it's part of the reason we're all so close in this industry is like, we might end up working together again or seeing someone down the road. So it's good to maintain those connections.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm always happy for somebody that finds, a new, better move for themselves. And it goes without saying that you can almost count on crossing paths again, because it's such a small industry, such a young industry still. The good tend to, stick together. And we've been able to find each other. I think it's separated a little bit between regions. Like the East Coast is super tight, and I have no doubt that the West Coast is super tight. But man, it's been one of my favorite things as far as joining the solar industry is, finding a group of people, regardless of background or interest, We have this common thing that is we all care about an industry, which is really weird and really cool. And it's been super rewarding to develop these relationships over time.